service resistant.
Yes.
This is the thing over and over again. This Whittier Heights tiny bit village. You're telling somebody in there in the same breath that they should force the police to follow the rules and file police reports. I've lived here all my life, Mike. My kids can't go to Carkeek. My older son wanted to go with his friends to walk the other day. He can't because there's needles, shit, and crazy people that are high on drugs that are not going to take services. At what point in time do you stop taking our money, because I can't afford to live here anymore as a single mom to raise my kids, because you're throwing our money
what would you propose?
at people that are, you take it or you get, like, there have to be laws. You can't just be like, police stand away. The same conversation in there is true. I talked to 5 different officers, including my community police officer, that said, my hands are tied. This council won't let us do shit.
That's true.
It's not true.
It's true.
How is that not
totally
true? You're telling us you're going to follow, you're allowing drug use at these, that is right there saying, go ahead and disobey the law. In the same breath that you're saying, well, we are telling the police not to do that. You're allowing them to break the law with no path to treatment. With no path to treatment.
Sit down with the police chief or any of the command staff, and what they say is like, we know that arresting people that simply have an addiction issue is not a solution to the problem. So we're not saying don't do it. But they don't do it because it makes absolutely no sense.
There's not enough of them. They're not even staffed properly. And so then you put the Whittier Heights in there, and the same thing the community officer said, we're not ready, we're not prepared to even deal with what we have right now.
Do you agree that the war on drugs was a failure, or do you think that was a success?
I don't even want to get into your politics about this whole thing. That's not working, but this isn't working. So let's not talk about things that haven't worked and then keep doing the things that don't work. Under whatever guise, whatever political umbrella that you want. That's not the point, okay? Communism also didn't work, but we're almost on that path here. So, you know, the whole point here is it needs to be data-driven. Every single conversation I've had with anybody, anywhere, around any of this stuff, are all different numbers. Yet at the same time, you're like, we got to keep doing this stuff. The Barbara Pope study, or Poppy, you know, completely ignored. We spent $200 grand on that study. She literally said, don't do this. And everyone's like, to hell with that, we're going to do it.
So Barbara Poppy has changed her attitude and said, we actually think emergency sanctioned encampments are interim solution. So, I mean, I have data, but every time I bring up data, you say, oh, that's bullshit. That's not the right data. So,
because nobody has the data. You just said you don't have the data with you.
do you want me to show you?
I would love a copy of all the data that we're referencing, because at the last meeting for Whittier Heights, it was a 3% into permanent housing rate that was quoted from George.
So there's
who also wouldn't answer any questions, that shut me down,
community assessment
told
survey
me to shut up when we were talking. And so I feel like I am not represented by the person that is standing right here that is supposed to represent me.
I represent the whole community.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
What we're telling you, Mike, is it's not happening.
Because when you talk, you keep saying, well, I feel. You don't say, well, my people are telling me. You keep saying how you feel. And how you feel isn't necessarily how
But do you think this is the
feels.
only opinion in the city right here, that you all represent?
No, but you're not.
This
There's no ability to have a conversation with you. I mean, literally, it's like la 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 la, not happening, not happening, not happening.
Oh, you have a house over your head, so you just suck it up.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You have a house over your
Yeah,
head,
your
suck
house.
it up.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep,
Sir, if
your
I might,
house.
I appreciate you coming here. One thing tonight as an example that might be a reason that you don't feel heard. Someone gave an example, a data-driven example that says when the encampments come, property crime surrounds them. I think you acknowledge that, right? That
I haven't looked at the data
Acknowledge
that John
not
read.
yet.
Okay.
First
Why
that
wouldn't you have looked at that?
Exactly.
It is so important to see
I've
what's
looked at the
going on
data
in
in my
Seattle.
I've looked at the data in
So-
my district,
so
but I
this
haven't
is-
looked at that one.
this
So
is
I'll
an
look at it.
amazing
But then-
piece of
But
data.
then you're putting a camp very similar
yeah.
to that one in your district
Yeah.
without looking at that data
Yeah.
first.
By
So
3 schools.
I'm right by that new one, the no justice on stolen land one. And since that came in a month ago, my daughter's garage, we found one of them in there rummaging through things. Her friend happens, I'm a former recovering drug addict myself, sat and talked with him. He talked about how he'd been up for 3 days smoking meth. There is a thing called drug-induced psychosis that is a real thing. So I don't think any of us here, so one of the reasons that it seems like maybe you're not listening to us is when we say, can you enforce the laws? You say, oh, you just want to put people in jail for drug paraphernalia. No, we're concerned that drug-induced psychosis may create them to, at some point, go from victimizing us through property crime to victimizing us through physical crime. And I no longer, my daughter lives 3 blocks from me. I can't walk to her at night without a man with me, like I lived in the third world.
Yep.
Like that is the concern. And so if when we say to you things like, could we enforce the existing laws, for you to say to us that we're saying something so flippant as jail people for drug paraphernalia, that's the reason, for me at least, that's the reason I don't feel heard, because that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that we report real, literal property crimes. And my understanding is that, yeah, the police might not quite understand, and they're doing things like putting $1,000 tickets that aren't real and things like that. But my understanding is that the prosecuting attorneys also just throw away that's not funded either, that even if the police did go and do a ton of work, and actually we know who the guy was, he lives 50 feet from me. The man that was in my daughter's garage lives 50 feet from me. And even if the police did charge him, the prosecuting attorney would throw it away. Like that is the concern. So I appreciate, I voted for you. I appreciate you being here. I don't know that I can do that again if I pay so much taxes and I can't walk to the store.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you highlighting that for me,
Yeah.
how it feels. So
Yeah.
if someone's in your garage,
Yeah.
that is illegal.
Yeah.
And the police should respond to that, and there should be consequences for the person who does that.
And
If
there's not.
someone breaks,
Yeah.
and you know, the police are struggling with the resources to address
Exactly.
that.
True.
And they're already over 50% of our general fund budget.
Agreed. I understand. Yeah.
And so, you know, it's you know, I don't want this crisis. I know some folks sometimes say, and I don't think they really believe it, that like, oh, I'm intentionally causing homelessness to
But you're putting it in
drive
a cabinet with
property.
no data and not looking actually what happened and the impact on the neighborhood around it.
The people that are putting that in have looked at the data.
No, they have not.
No, they haven't.
No, they haven't.
No, they haven't.
They haven't,
Prosecuting
Mike.
attorney.
No, they haven't.
Is that true? Is
So-
that true that they're just throwing away low-level crime and just not even pursuing it? Yeah.
I believe that like on drug use charges, like if someone's just using drugs on the street, I mean, I don't think we're issuing a whole lot of tickets for that, and I don't think the prosecutor is prosecuting that. For trespassing, if you want to press charges, I believe that the city attorney would do that. I don't speak for the city attorney though; he's an
Okay.
elected official too.
Okay.
And so, you know, I can ask a little bit about that. I would encourage you to reach out directly to Pete Holmes
Okay.
to share that too. I know that when, you know, there was a squatter living in the house next to me, stole my bike, you know, eventually they recovered it and, you know, asked to press charges. And so that there was an opportunity, and so I think my understanding is if you want to press charges for whether it's trespassing or theft or whatever it is, that they will follow it up, but I'm not the expert on that. So, but there's, you know, I think you made a good distinction. You know, someone who is sitting on a park bench shooting up, which is, you know, a federal offense for, you know, whatever class 1 drugs, versus someone who's trespassing. Those are two different things, and we're not pursuing the arrest for someone who's addicted to drugs and using drugs. But whether they're addicted to drugs or not, and they're on your property, or they're breaking into your car, or they're stealing your water, or whatever those things are, those, you know, I've been really clear, and I believe the police feel this too, because I hear them say it, that those are offenses we should charge. Now, they have limited bandwidth. There's limited space in the jails. There's limited resources in the courts. There's all these limits in our criminal justice. I mean, you know, our country, you know, whatever the data, you know, 30% of the people incarcerated in the world are in the United States. I mean, we have a screwed up criminal justice system, and perpetuating that. And you know, I know, like, you don't want to hear my politics on all this stuff.
I really don't. It's like so wants in the room right now, and I
And-
want to talk about what's going
and
on in
if
my
I actually
neighborhood.
wanna
Now my kids can't walk to school.
Yeah, and I have to take into effect you and everyone else, and I also want to try to solve this problem in a way that's actually going to solve it. And it's
And it needs to be by
you're
data.
frustrated with me, and I get it.
But somebody's shooting a dope on a park bench.
Yep.
To shoot that dope on that park bench, they have to go into somebody's garage and steal some stuff to
They do.
get
That's
that.
exactly
Because
what
basically,
they're doing.
if they're shooting dope on a park
They gotta
bench,
feed it.
they're unemployable.
They're outside
All right,
of
they're
the
out
society.
exactly.
Exactly.
They are
Exactly.
not.
You know.
There's only
I know
one way
that.
to get their money. They either sell themselves
Yep.
and or
They're not
they
just going in there to
steal.
look for
Every
water.
single drug addict
Exactly.
I
They're
work
going in there to
with
steal
told me that.
generators and
Yeah.
power
Very
tools.
few
Yeah.
work, and
Stuff
the
they can
ones who
pawn.
work aren't the ones who are seeing camped around.
Exactly.
What if we just gave them back the jungle while you're fixing things? What if we just said, go back there? And
Seriously?
Seriously.
and not stop trying to fix it. Like, keep doing all of the things you're doing, but in the meantime, go there. That's where you can be.
I am with you on that. I mean, I tried to propose legislation a year and a half ago that would have said, let's designate some areas in the city where people actually can be, and then areas where they can't. Like,
Away from the neighborhood.
Like, I don't think Ballard Commons Park is an appropriate place for people to sleep out. But let's be clear, everyone feels that the place in their neighborhood is not appropriate.
Right.
So,
But it's everywhere.
right, so there's 4,000 people that are without shelter, and simply by outlawing sleeping outdoors, we don't make them disappear. That's
Yeah, but
just
they could be
unrealistic.
in a monitored, aren't there city
You gotta
lots
force
that
them.
are not being utilized?
No.
Where they can be
They
monitored?
put them.
Well, there was a city lot where they built tiny
We did.
houses, I don't remember.
Yeah,
the name of
there's
it.
some of those. I mean, there's long wait lists to get into them. They're really expensive.
Well, I'm not even talking about that, just where they can use or whatever they want, but not in the neighborhoods where they're leaving
Was
needles.
the jungle in
I-
the neighborhood?
It's just like a streetcar that you shut down, like you did that quick, which is good. I mean, it's like with the homeless issue and stuff, where we're just like, there's gotta be, it's like this so-called state of emergency that Mayor Murray called 2.5 years ago. You keep saying that, it's like, it's still a shit show, you know? And it's like you guys, the mayor, and even the mayor, you got some really hard decisions that you need to make, you know? And doing just the political thing, you got to help these people, you know? You got to help them, and it's not happening.
But you're saying we should arrest them. How is that?
I didn't say that. Did I say that?
Why are you yelling?
I didn't say that.
I
So
think it should be
Monday
real.
night, I got a call from a neighbor saying,